In the vast history of World War II, there are few machines of war that earned a reputation as terrifying and as legendary as the German Tiger tank. Known officially as the Panzerkampfwagen 6 Tiger, this tank was more than just steel and firepower. It was a symbol of dominance, an engine of fear, and a weapon that seemed almost invincible to the soldiers who faced it. To understand the true story of the Tiger, we must travel back to the early years of the war and explore how this massive machine changed the battlefield forever. The Tiger was born out of necessity. In the early campaigns of the war, Germany's panzer divisions achieved stunning victories with lighter tanks such as the Panzer III and Panzer IV. Blitzkrieg, or lightning war, was a strategy built on speed, coordination, and mobility. But as the war dragged on, Germany faced new challenges. On the Eastern Front, the Soviet Union introduced the T-34, a medium tank that shocked the Germans with its sloped armor and powerful 76mm gun. In North Africa, British and American forces were bringing increasingly tougher armored vehicles into the fight. Suddenly, the panzer divisions that had once seemed unstoppable were at risk of being outgunned and outclassed. Hitler demanded an answer, and that answer came in the form of the Tiger tank. Developed by Henschel and first deployed in 1942, the Tiger was unlike anything the world had seen before. Weighing nearly 60 tons, protected by up to 100 millimeters of frontal armor, and armed with the fearsome 80mm KWK-36 L-56 gun, the Tiger was a fortress on tracks. Its armor was nearly impenetrable to most Allied weapons at the time, and its gun could destroy enemy tanks at ranges that left them helpless. Allied crews would often find themselves fired upon and destroyed before they even got close enough to return fire. This imbalance created an aura of terror around the Tiger that went far beyond its physical capabilities. Soldiers spoke of the Tiger with dread, calling it a monster that could dominate entire battlefields by its mere presence. The first Tigers saw action near Leningrad in September 1942. At first, they were plagued by mechanical problems. Their enormous weight and complex engineering made them prone to breakdowns, especially in the mud and cold of the Russian front. But when they worked, they were devastating. In January 1943, at the Battle of Kharkov, the Tigers proved their worth, destroying hundreds of Soviet tanks and halting enemy advances. On the Western Front, they appeared in Tunisia, where American and British crews were stunned by their firepower and resilience. Reports quickly spread among the Allies that these new German tanks were almost impossible to kill. Facing a Tiger became not just a tactical challenge but a psychological ordeal. Soldiers felt they were fighting against an indestructible beast. What made the Tiger so deadly was its combination of firepower and protection. The 80mm gun, originally designed as an anti-aircraft weapon, could penetrate any Allied tank armor at ranges over 2 kilometers. This meant that Tigers could sit back and pick off enemy tanks long before they came into effective range. Allied gunners described the hopeless feeling of watching their shells bounce off the Tiger's armor, only to be destroyed in return by a single devastating shot. The Tiger's armor, thick and nearly vertical, gave it an unmatched level of protection for the time. Infantrymen feared it just as much as tank crews did, as the Tiger could mow down entire squads with machine guns while being impervious to most handheld weapons. But for all its strengths, the Tiger had weaknesses that are often overlooked. Its sheer size and weight made it slow and difficult to maneuver, especially in forests or urban environments. Bridges often collapsed under its weight. Its fuel consumption was enormous, a critical problem in a Germany already struggling with shortages. And while its armor and gun were unmatched, its mechanical reliability was poor. Engines overheated, gearboxes failed, and tracks broke under the strain of its massive bulk. Many Tigers were abandoned or destroyed by their own crews simply because they broke down and could not be repaired in time. For every Tiger that dominated the battlefield, there were others stuck in the mud or waiting for parts that never came. Despite these flaws, the Tiger achieved legendary status. Its reputation was magnified by propaganda on both sides. The Germans portrayed it as a symbol of their technological superiority, while the Allies whispered about it with fear, exaggerating its numbers and abilities. In reality, only about 2,300 Tigers were ever built, a tiny fraction compared to the tens of thousands of T-34s and Shermans that rolled off Allied assembly lines. But the psychological impact of the Tiger far outweighed its actual presence. Soldiers believed that where there was one Tiger, There were many. Entire units would sometimes retreat or delay attacks at the mere rumor of a tiger in the area. It was not just a machine. It was a legend that haunted the minds of those who fought against it. Perhaps the most famous tiger commander was Michael Wittmann, a German tank ace who became a symbol of the tiger's destructive power. In June 1944, during the Battle of Villers-Bocage in Normandy, Wittmann and his Tiger single-handedly destroyed over 24 Allied vehicles in a matter of minutes. His daring ambush shocked the British and cemented the Tiger's reputation as the beast of the battlefield. Stories like these circulated widely, fueling both awe and fear. To Allied soldiers, facing a Tiger commanded by someone like Wittmann was nothing short of a nightmare. However, as the war progressed, the Tiger's weaknesses became more apparent. The Allies adapted their tactics, using superior numbers, air power, and specialized weapons to counter the Tiger threat. The development of more powerful guns, such as the British 17-pounder mounted on the Sherman Firefly, finally gave the Allies a weapon that could take on the Tiger head-to-head. In the East, the Soviets unleashed the IS-2 heavy tank, armed with a massive 122mm gun that could penetrate even the Tiger's armor. Over time, the once invincible beast began to show cracks in its armor. By 1944 and 1945, the tide of the war had turned against Germany. The Tiger, once a symbol of dominance, now struggled to hold back the overwhelming flood of Allied forces. Its production was slow, costly, and unsustainable. Each Tiger required vast amounts of resources and man-hours, resources that Germany could no longer afford. In the final battles of the war, many Tigers were destroyed not by enemy fire but by lack of fuel, maintenance, and support. They became hulking wrecks abandoned on the side of the road, a stark contrast to the fearsome image they once commanded. Yet, the legacy of the Tiger tank endures. To this day, it remains one of the most famous tanks in history, a machine that defined an era of armored warfare. Historians debate whether it was truly the best tank of the war, or simply the most feared. Its impact was as much psychological as it was physical. For the men who fought against it, the Tiger was not just steel and fire, it was a nightmare given form. For the Germans, it was a symbol of pride, a showcase of engineering brilliance even in the face of inevitable defeat. The Tiger tank has appeared in countless books, documentaries, and films from Saving Private Ryan to Fury, each time reinforcing its status as the ultimate World War II tank. Surviving examples in museums still draw crowds who marvel at its size and power. Though the war ended decades ago, the legend of the Tiger lives on, a reminder of the terrifying machines that shaped the battlefields of the past. In the end, the Tiger tank was more than a weapon. It was a story of ambition, fear, and the relentless march of technology in humanity's darkest hour. The beast of the battlefield will forever remain one of the most iconic symbols of World War II.